We had ourselves news out of The Athletic yesterday from Fluto Shinzawa saying that the Boston Bruins do not expect Tuukka Rask to continue his comeback attempt, and because the article is actually on the main Athletic page right here, it actually has a good amount of content before going into the paywall, which means that we can actually go out there and screenshot this one right here. The Bruins are indeed not expecting Tuukka Rask to continue his comeback, according to two sources familiar with the situation. He last played on January 24th against the Anaheim Ducks, when he allowed 5 goals on 27 shots. He reported discomfort relating to his hip surgery following the game, and he is currently on the IR. I give him all the credit in the world, one of the sources said. He did everything right. He just didn't feel as good as he thought he would. And so, I wanted to go out there and make this video talking about not necessarily Tuukka Rask himself, but the situation around his retirement. Or retirement to be, I guess I should say instead. Sure, we'll get into Tuukka Rask and what he means to the Bruins and how good he was and all that too, but I wanted to start off by saying this. This is probably the most unfortunate way for a guy to end his NHL career that you could actually imagine, especially for a player like Rask, who has had such a tenured amount of success in the NHL, and whose entire career has been defined by never being a Stanley Cup leading goaltender. I didn't say Stanley Cup winning goaltender. Technically, he was the backup in 2011, so his name is on the cup, but he didn't lead the Bruins to that Stanley Cup because he didn't play a single game that postseason. He's had 2 other finals appearances aside from that, and you take a look at the body of work he has done. It's crazy good, right? But the last game that he played, January 24th against the Anaheim Ducks, 5 goals allowed on 27 shots. It was a 5-3 loss. This was the game where you had Boston Bruins fans in TD Garden going out there and chanting something that I think no goaltender, especially in Tuukka Rask's position, should ever hear. It's the "We Want Swayman" chants. As I said in a few videos already on this channel, Jeremy Swayman has been good. Like, yeah, he hasn't played in the NHL for a long time, but when he has played, he's been pretty consistent and he's been pretty solid so far. However, Boston fans, this has been sort of the discourse going around Tuukka Rask for a while now, and it's something that I think a lot of people have kind of seen on the outside, especially if you're not a Boston fan. But Bruins fans get super harsh towards Tuukka Rask, and it's been like this for the past year and a bit. I want to say a bit more than that, too. Now, I get it, there's some playoff success thrown in there that you can go out there and try to attribute to this sentiment towards Rask, but when it gets to the point where the guy returns after getting surgery, after being out for a while, and you're chanting out "We Want Swayman" after he lets in 5 goals in a game, yeah, that's really unfortunate. And now the guy's gone, or he's going to be gone, he's going to retire soon, and he's probably never going to play an NHL game again. This is like the Harvey Dent thing, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Tuukka Rask was in the Stanley Cup Finals in 2019, just 3 years ago, and now, ever since the bubble and the other playoffs over there and the inconsistencies, you saw the fans really start to turn their back on this guy, and, I mean, come on. He wasn't terrible last season. He had a .913 save percentage and a .228 goals against in a weird year where everybody was kind of shut down because of the virus and there was no inter-divisional play and all that. In the playoffs, he had a .919, so he was pretty good then as well. It's just this season, if you take a look at the 4 games played, he had .428 goals against, an .844 save percentage, and a .220 record. After coming back from surgery and suiting up for the Bruins after having a little bit of a stint, or not even a stint, he didn't play any games for Providence, but it definitely was a long road to come back here, and for Tuukka Rask to even try to play at the NHL level once again, I commend him for that 100%. It takes guts to go out there and stare your body down in the face of adversity. Look at your body and saying, okay, you're failing me right now, but we're going to try to get back in there, we're going to try to get another run going, and who knows what we can do. Maybe make the playoffs, whatever, Stanley Cup. Like, we still need to go on that run and give Bergeron another crack at the gold. And who knows if we're going to make the finals again, because he already led this team to 2 other Stanley Cup Finals appearances. So if we want to go over Tuukka Rask and the entire body of work that he has done, 36 years old, he's got a $1 million one-year contract, so that doesn't really matter. Everybody kind of knows the situation here. He had himself what was a stellar run in 2009-2010 when he had a .931 save percentage and a .197 goals against average. This was the year where he was dueling it out with Tim Thomas, Thomas, remember Timmy T? The guy who came out here, stole a Stanley Cup and everything. Tim Thomas was the best goaltender in the world in the 2011 Stanley Cup playoffs. However, that status of being so was never really something that persisted consistently throughout the rest of his career. 2011-2010 was a great year for Tim Thomas, but the previous season he actually was bested in terms of the numbers by Tuukka Rask. Rask was 22 years old at the time, and Tim Thomas was old, but these guys combined for a very, very strong goaltending tandem that carried them for the better part of a few seasons. Everybody loves to talk about Tim Thomas and his 2011 Stanley Cup Finals run and how he was the best statistical goaltender the Finals had ever seen, and he happened to do that against Vancouver because the Sedins, Kessler, all of them all of a sudden became ineffective against the Boston team that shut them down. But Tuukka Rask in his 2013 Stanley Cup Finals run was also pretty great. He had a very similar .940 save percentage to Tim Thomas's 2011 .940 as well. Tim Thomas had a .198 goals against in 2011, meanwhile Rask had a .188. He was a better statistical goaltender in the playoffs in 2013 when they went to the finals and lost to Chicago than Tim Thomas was when they won in 2011. So, just that kind of magnitude of goaltending, man. Tuukka Rask is an absolute madman, and at his prime he was one of the best, if not the best goaltender in the world on any given night. There's a reason why he won the Vezina the very next year. He also went to the Stanley Cup Finals, of course, in 2018-19, where he had a .202 goals against average and a .934 save percentage as well, so the save percentage was really close to what he did, 6 years ago. So Tuukka Rask, as we said, he was good for a very long time. It's just towards the end, there were some inconsistencies that a lot of Bruins fans would get particularly pissy about, which led to a whole bunch of other stuff. Oh, Jeremy Swayman is the future. Oh, do we really need Rask? We're going to chant out, "We want Swayman," during Tuukka Rask's last NHL game. Now, of course, nobody really knew that January 24th against Anaheim would have been his last game when the game was being played, but in hindsight, it's super unfortunate to see how things went down, especially considering the circumstances that all the fans were cheering against this guy. He was here for so long, and that's the ultimate goodbye he receives from the fan base. Now, his number's probably going to be retired. That number 40 is going to go to the rafters, and we'll likely see the Bostonians going out there and reversing their opinions and giving him cheers rather than saying they want the other guy instead. But for now, what a terrible way to leave, right? Super unfortunate the way Tuukka Rask is leaving the NHL, but it appears that that is so. Talk to me in the comments, what do you think about Tuukka Rask and his departure from the National Hockey League? A link will be in the description to the Athletic piece from Fluto Shinzawa. There's a little bit more that is kind of talked about here in the piece that is indeed behind the paywall, but it's just kind of like future, how will the Bruins proceed in goal? What would Rask's retirement mean for the organization? The entire update as to what Tuukka Rask is going to do is not behind a paywall, which is why I screenshotted it and put it on the video right here. Normally, regular protocol says that if it's on the Athletic, we don't screenshot it because that is paid for material, but this one is available to everybody, so that's why we went ahead and did that. If you want the link, though, that's in the description, go ahead and read the rest of what Fluto Shinzawa has to write about Tuukka Rask. But for now, this is a Stanley Cup champion de facto goaltender, a two-time individual finalist where he did the brunt of the work, a guy who broke onto the scene early in his 20s and who has a .921 save percentage in 564 total games. That number increases to a .925 in the postseason. Crazy how he actually got better when the games got more important. But talk to me in the comments either way. What do you think about Tuukka Rask and his retirement? I hope you enjoyed this. And bye.